South Salem Saxons, coached by Scott McCormick, won the 2014 state softball championship, defeating North Medford 5-3 on June 7th at the OSU softball complex in Corvallis. 2 days later, Coach McCormick's current and former players, coaches, family, and friends gathered at South Salem High School to dedicate the Saxon softball complex in his honor. South Salem Junior Varsity softball coach Steve Norris was the master of ceremonies.
All right, we're going to take a little journey through time, several decades apparently, as I look over his biography. Scott was born March 24th, 1951 to Joyce and Donald McCormick. It may seem that Scott was destined to become a softball coach as his mom played for the legendary Irv Lind in his Irv Lind Florist team in Portland. Scott attended Taft High School where he played both basketball and baseball and was a big fan of Willie Mays and John Havlicek. Favorite high school memories were making the state semifinals as a junior and hitting four home runs in a doubleheader as a senior. After high school, Scott went on to play baseball at Willamette and graduated in 1973 with a teaching degree. And maybe later you can tell us about your pitching career in high school too. That's interesting.
Yeah, my last game, right?
Mm-hmm. Scott met his wife, to be Tricia, and they married shortly after graduation. They made the great trek across Oregon to the booming metropolis of Nyssa, where he spent 2 years teaching PE. From Nyssa, they returned to Salem, where he got a job at Highland Elementary. Highland determined it was better to give up a classroom teacher for a PE teacher in hopes it would help control their discipline problems. He spent 29 years at Highland, and upon his retirement, they named the school gym after him in recognition of all the work he did and with the kids at that school. His coaching career began in 1979 when he was asked to coach the JV softball team at McNary. 2 years later, he became the varsity coach. He loves to tell how they had to wear the uniform just like the players in those early years. Yay, polyester. Hopefully it wasn't those beautiful short combinations so popular back then. He earned his first of more than 600 wins in his second game as a varsity coach. He took the Celts to 2 state championship games. In 1990, they were declared co-state champions with Milwaukee after the game was suspended because of rain, and the teams were tied 1-1 after 7 innings. McNary returned to the state championship game in 1991, only to take second. There's a pattern starting to develop there for a while. After the 1995 season, Coach McCormick decided to leave McNary and bring his talents to South Salem. Ironically, one of Coach's favorite memories was his first loss of his coaching career, which came to the hands of then-coach Roberta Perkins. In his words, Roberta Perkins schooled him that day. They missed pregame infield because Scott thought the home team took infield first. In reality, the visitors did in that day. And he didn't know, and she didn't tell him. He didn't learn until his allotted time was up, and it was too late. While at South, he coached teams to a league championship in 1998, 2003, where they were co-champs, 2004, 2009, 2011, 12, 13, and 14, state runners-up in 2011 and 2012, and state champs in 2014. "35 former Saxons have gone on to play college softball. He was named CVC Coach of the Year in 2002, 2004, 2009, 2012, and 2013. He was named National Coach of the Year in 2006 by the National Federation of High School Coaches Association. And if coaching high school wasn't enough, Scott also coached in a summer ASA program and was instrumental in founding the Salem Sliders organization as a feeder program. Many former players started as Sliders and finished as Saxons. They found much success on the field. Good thing I don't give up my day job. And notice came from parents and umpires who were impressed that his girls always seemed to be having fun, regardless if they were winning or losing, and always played the game with great class and enthusiasm. Okay, it was ironic that when Scott came to South, the softball field moved from Bush Park to these fields here at South. Since then, he's put in many hours of time, energy, and love into the care of the program and facilities. Familiar sight to students during the spring and fall months is looking out the windows of school, see Farmer McCormick driving in circles in his John Deere. He has coordinated fundraising by running concessions and sponsorships to assist with spring trips to tournaments and provide improvements to the field. 2 recent examples are the scoreboard and the batting cages. Some of his favorite memories are the Co-State Championship in 1990, the semifinal in 2011 that took 2 days and 13 innings to win, and going to state championship in 2011 and 2012. Somehow I think Saturday's win may have jumped to the top of that list. He's always said his favorite part of coaching is working with the kids, seeing them grow and improve as players and people, and the camaraderie of being with them for practices and games. And finally, the competition of the games. Today, as we honor Scott, it's important to recognize his family. We've all met them, and understand that he's always made his family, the way he's run his teams is as a family, and his family's always been a big part of things. As the only head coach that's used and cared for the facilities here at South Salem, it seems fitting to honor him officially by naming the place where he spent so much time. Coach McCormick is highly respected by players, umpires, parents, fellow coaches, and the community. Tonight we not only celebrate and honor him, but we provide a role model for current and future teachers and coaches as an example of dedication and commitment to program. So in closing, Coach McCormick is a coach who can measure success not only in his wins, over 600, his record illustrates much more, importantly measured by the lives he's impacted and the relationships he's built. If you ask his former and current players, he's not only been a coach, but a teacher, a father, and a friend. Needless to say, he is well deserving of this honor. Congratulations, Scott. We are proud to say that we now name the South Salem High School softball grounds the Scott McCormick Softball Complex. Okay. And if there's anybody that didn't get a chance that would like to come out and say a few words, as awkward as we can make him and uncomfortable as we can make him feel, this is the time to make that happen.
If you don't think I feel that way right now.
Yes, if it's not good enough right now for him.
You know, Norris made the observation about the first year I was coaching softball that we had to wear those uniforms. Oh, I thought we wore uniforms, but it was...
Because you're doing baseball.
It definitely was ugly. I don't know how the other way to say it.
Were they shorts or pants?
They were pants, and they were polyester. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Kelsey and I played ASA for McCormick for like
No.
a long time.
No.
And high school ball, and we were practicing for sliders, and I was in the outfield, Kelsey was at short, and we were doing pop flies, and we ran into each other, and we got up and laughed at each other, and McCormick called timeout, and we all had to meet in a circle, and he goes, pull your head out of your butt or get off our field. And me and Kelsey thought it was funny because we got in trouble, but that was our favorite memory together.
Maybe I wasn't clear about the directions. I don't know if that's what we're looking for. Atta girl.
Scott yelled at me once, so I'm going to yell at him back. We had our group sitting down there watching the game, and Scott's, of course, coaching third base, and we see the ball going beyond the right fielder for the other team, and Scott holds up the girl at third, our girl at third. And we're just, thinking out loud, processing, just cheering as we always ever did.
No, this is my story. You had your chance.
And we behind him, just again cheering, say something about, what are you doing? She should have gone home. And, we're just out loud, just thinking out loud. And he turns to me, and there were two others there, I want you to know. And he turns to me and he looks at me and he goes, you don't make the out at third base. Scott, I'm really sorry. I want you to know you made an out at third base at the state playoff game.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know who this is Malia Schmidt. She won't hold that against her. She originally was a JV coach at South. Unfortunately, now she coaches at Sprague, but we try not to hold that against her too much. And hi, Andy. Heard that chuckle. So this year, we were down in Medford for spring break, and she absolutely dropped one of her players with a ball to the head. Girl put her head down, didn't see it coming, and she hit the deck. And Malia was out of it for several hours, like the rest of the day. So we went into Coach McCormick's room that night, and it was his birthday, so we went to say happy birthday, and we went in, and the first thing I asked him was like, Coach McCormick, you ever hit somebody in the head with the ball? He's like, yeah. It's like, Malia just did, and she's feeling horrible, and he just turned to her and he goes, "Welcome to the club."
Remember Paul Harvey? And here's the rest of the story. Here it comes.
Well, we knew that we were going to have this celebration tonight, and so it was after the state playoff game on Saturday, and we were talking about what a great feeling it was, and we're so proud of everybody, and so he started talking about the fact that God, we had to get this done. We had to get this done. I mean, in 92, 90 didn't win it outright. In 91, he was kind of the loser of that big game. And then in 2011, 2012, he lost, and he was kind of starting to feel sorry for himself. I said, if we would have lost today, then we would have had to name this field Mike Mayburn Field after the North Medford coach because he owned you. But that didn't happen, so congratulations.
One memory I'd like to share. Many summers ago, I was coaching ASA with Terry and Scott, and we're at some ballpark at dark 30 in the morning, and we're getting ready to play, and as we're warming up, something or other happens, and the next thing I know, and I'm out in the outfield hitting balls, and Coach McCormick's in the dugout, and Coach Haugen's hitting balls in the infield. Next thing I know, by the time I get in, somehow Terry had missed the signal from the umpire that he wasn't supposed to hit balls on the dirt anymore. Terry claims it's his bad ear. We're not really sure, but that gentleman in blue banned Terry to his dugout. I go, "You got banned to the dugout?" Which is like one step from kicking you out. And what'd you say? "Well, nothing. Why'd he ban you?" Well, I told him I didn't really feel like leaving yet, and he wasn't done. All right, so we get to there. Then the next thing I know, about an inning later, same thing happens to Coach McCormick for some other, apparently you guys had a disagreement over a judgment issue. Infield fly. You had trouble with those, haven't you? So the next thing I know, I'm just hoping to sit on a bucket and, watch the game. Neither one of these guys have won about 7 million games between them, and they can't leave the dugout at a 14U ASA softball game. So maybe I should have turned that in before they went to all this trouble. I'm not really sure. Okay. Is there anyone else?
Okay, one story that I think characterizes McCormick was this year when I had 6th and 7th period off. And so I came down to the dugout one day, and McCormick and our catcher Kennan are sitting there with McCormick's iPhone at full blast. They're playing like air guitars and air drums for like 45 minutes to like Aerosmith and like all these like hard like metal bands, and they're just like screaming. Oh, it was so funny. They were just like, you couldn't even tell what the words were because it was just like screamo the whole time, but they obviously know what they're screaming. And so I think that just gives reference to how he loves to bond with every single one of his players, and really tries to make that personal connection with each and every one of us. And I know it means a lot to us as players that we not only have the best coach, but we have the best mentor that we could have asked for. So, yeah.
So today we're all gathered here to commemorate this complex and honor Coach Scott McCormick. Ladies, if you will. Welcome to South Salem High School Scott McCormick Softball Complex, dedicated June 9th, 2014. Ladies, stay there for a minute so they can get a picture of you all face this way. Thank you so much.
I just want to thank Linda And Steve and Mary Beth and Amy and Diane and everybody that was involved in this process, my wife, and it's just, I look at it more as a tribute to the kids that have played softball here for the last 19 years, and they're the kids that make the coach. So I give them the ultimate credit and the ultimate recognition, because that's what it's all about. It's about them, and I just want to provide, something, someplace great and that they can play. So I appreciate this a ton, and I just say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I mean, it's just like, wow. That's all I can say. Wow.
Coaching softball for Scott has been a passion that I've enjoyed watching him share with so many amazing girls and their families. And I've seen him contribute through those girls to the community at large. And he's very deserving of all the recognition and accomplishments he's achieved recently. And I'm really proud of him. Yeah. And I never see him. But that's okay.
I'll tell you later.